Most people think wealth is obvious: flashy cars, designer clothes, expensive vacations splashed across social media. But real wealth, it's a lot quieter. In fact, the people who are actually getting rich often don't feel rich at all. They're too busy doing the right things: saving, investing, building to notice how far they've come. I'm going to show you 8 subtle signs you're secretly getting rich, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. Because the truth is, the richest people don't wait until they feel rich to act wealthy. They do the work first, and the money shows up later. My name is Joe, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, human psychology, and why some people seem to glide through financial challenges while others are constantly stressed about their bank account balance. If you've ever wondered what it actually feels like to be building real wealth, even when it doesn't feel like it in the moment, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps clarify things for you. Now, before we dive into these signs, let me ask you something. When you think about getting rich, what comes to mind? Maybe you picture someone winning the lottery, or perhaps you imagine finding a secret investment that multiplies your money overnight. The truth is, getting rich doesn't work the way most people think it does. Here's what actually happens: there are subtle shifts in your behavior and mindset that signal you're on the right path. And these shifts happen long before your bank balance looks impressive to anyone else. The first sign is you've mastered living below your means. You're not clipping every coupon, but you've created a life where your spending is intentional. You don't feel the need to impress anyone. And because of that, your lifestyle naturally costs less than what you earn. Here's what's interesting about this: you might not even realize you're doing it. You just know that at the end of the month, there's money left over. And that money doesn't disappear on impulse purchases. It goes somewhere important: savings, investments, debt repayment. This gap between what you earn and what you spend, that's where wealth is actually built. Most people think wealth comes from earning more money. But here's the thing that really gets me: wealth comes from keeping the money you earn. You could make $200,000 a year and still be broke if you spend $210,000. Meanwhile, someone making $50,000 who lives on $40,000 is quietly building something that can't be taken from them. That extra margin gives you breathing room. It builds a financial buffer that turns into freedom over time. You're not depriving yourself, you've simply redefined what enough looks like. And when you live below your means, you're not just saving money, you're building a relationship with money that most people never develop. But here's where it gets really interesting. The second sign is you think in terms of long-term gains, not quick wins. Most people chase instant gratification: the next bonus, the next tax refund, the next hot stock tip. But you've shifted your mindset. Instead of obsessing over quick, you're playing a longer game that rewards patience, consistency, and strategy. You think in decades, not just days. You care about compound growth more than overnight success. Here's something that might blow your mind: the average person checks their investment account multiple times per week. They get stressed when the market drops. They consider buying when it goes up. But someone who's quietly getting rich, they might check their account once every few months. When the market drops 15%, they don't panic. They see it as an opportunity to buy more shares at a discount. They understand that the stock market has historically gone up over long periods of time, and they're not trying to time the market or beat the system. They're just consistently contributing month after month, year after year. Quiet wealth isn't loud, it's disciplined. It's automatic contributions every month, regardless of market conditions. If you're thinking long term, you're already doing what 90% of people won't. The third sign is you've created a financial buffer and you don't talk about it. You're not living paycheck to paycheck anymore, but you're not bragging about it either. While others flex their lifestyles on social media, you've quietly built something more powerful: breathing room. You have money sitting in your account that you don't need to touch. An emergency fund, a cushion, cash that buys you time, peace of mind, and options. You don't panic when your car breaks down. You don't dread bills at the end of the month. And if your job vanished tomorrow, you wouldn't crumble. You'd calmly pivot. Think about the last time you had a minor car problem. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, that check engine light might as well be a countdown timer to financial disaster. You're immediately stressed about how you're going to pay for repairs, whether you'll need to put it on a credit card or if you'll have to borrow money from family. But when you have a financial buffer, that same check engine light becomes a simple inconvenience. You're annoyed, sure, but you're not panicked. Most people only realize the power of a financial buffer after a crisis, but you built yours before it ever came. That's the mindset of someone quietly getting rich. If you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, you're in the top 25% of Americans. And here's what's really happening: that money isn't just sitting there doing nothing, it's buying you peace of mind. It's buying you better sleep at night. It's buying you the confidence to take calculated risks. It's buying you freedom from the constant stress of living on the edge. But here's something that most people don't realize. The fourth sign is you're earning more without feeling the urge to spend more. Something strange happens when you quietly get rich. You start making more money, but your baseline lifestyle stays roughly the same. You got a raise, maybe a promotion, your income increased by 15% or 20%, and yet you're not driving a more expensive car or living in a bigger apartment. This is lifestyle inflation immunity. Most people experience lifestyle creep. As income rises, spending rises to match. They get a raise, they upgrade their apartment, they get a bonus, they buy a nicer car, and suddenly they're making more money but feeling just as broke as before. But when you're secretly getting rich, you've broken this cycle. That extra money doesn't disappear into lifestyle upgrades, it goes toward building your future. Investments, savings, debt payoff. And here's the thing: this decision creates a compounding effect. Let me give you a concrete example. Someone who makes $60,000 at age 28 and lives on 45,000, they get promoted to 80,000 at age 32 and still lives on 48,000. That extra $32,000 a year goes straight to investments. By age 40, they've accumulated $280,000 in wealth. Meanwhile, someone else whose income also went from 60,000 to 80,000, but they upgraded to a $2,200 apartment instead of $1,400. They got a car payment instead of a paid-off sedan. By age 40, they have $35,000 saved. They feel successful because their lifestyle upgraded, but financially, they're barely ahead. When you get a raise and your first thought isn't, what can I buy now, but how much more can I invest? You've leveled up psychologically. The fifth sign is you've stopped comparing yourself to others. When you're broke, comparison is constant. Your coworker bought a new car. Are you falling behind? Your friend went to Greece. Should you take a trip you can't afford? Social media becomes a highlight reel that makes you feel inadequate. But when you're quietly getting rich, something shifts. You stop caring what other people are doing with their money. You've realized that most visible wealth is either debt funded or coming at the cost of someone's future security. Here's something that might surprise you. The person driving the brand new truck that costs more than most people's houses is probably not rich. They're probably making payments that consume a huge portion of their income. Meanwhile, the person driving the 5-year-old Toyota who owns it outright might be building real wealth. You see your friend buy a $60,000 truck and think, hope that makes them happy. No envy. You know your $15,000 used car and your growing investment portfolio are the smarter play for your goals. Someone else sees the same truck and thinks, I need to upgrade too. They finance a $50,000 vehicle at 7% interest. 2 years later, they're upside down on the loan and stressed about payments. When you stop comparing, you stop making financial decisions based on other people's choices. You build according to your plan, your timeline, your values. This makes you immune to marketing, peer pressure, and FOMO. 3 forces that keep most people broke. But wait, here's the part that will blow your mind. The sixth sign is money isn't the main topic anymore. When you're broke, money dominates your thoughts. You constantly do mental math. Every decision, lunch, rent, gas, feels like a financial debate. The anxiety is exhausting, but something changes when you start building real quiet wealth. Money stops being the main character in your life. You've built systems, you've automated savings, you've handled the basics so well that you don't need to talk about them anymore. You don't obsess over credit card rewards anymore. Your finances run on autopilot. Automatic contributions, automated bill pay, diversified portfolio. You rebalance once a year. Your mental energy is freed up for bigger questions. How can I spend more time with my family? What project excites me? What kind of legacy am I building? Someone else still talks about money constantly. They're always looking for the next deal, the next side hustle, the next opportunity. But because they have no system, everything requires constant attention. They're mentally exhausted from managing money poorly instead of building money to manage itself. This shift from financial survival mode to financial background noise is a clear sign you've leveled up. Real wealth is quiet. Sometimes it's even boring, but boring money often leads to an exciting life. The seventh sign is you feel rich in time, not just money. Most people chase money their entire lives, but the truly wealthy start chasing time. And if you've noticed yourself valuing time more than things, if you've stopped glorifying busy, if you crave slowness or space, you're secretly getting rich in a way money alone can't measure. When you're broke, you have no choice but to trade time for money. You clock in, you hustle, you grind. But when your finances stabilize, you realize that money can buy time. Time to think, time to rest, time to create, time to live on your terms. Here's a concrete example. Someone pays $150 a month to have their apartment cleaned. That buys them 3 hours they spend with their kids or working on a project they enjoy. They say no to meetings that don't serve them. Their calendar has white space. Meanwhile, someone else does everything themselves to save money. They spend Saturday cleaning, Sunday shopping. Their calendar is packed. They feel busy and important, but they're exhausted. You start paying for convenience, not just deals. You say no more often. You let go of urgency. These are quiet upgrades, signs of wealth most people overlook because they're internal. Real wealth isn't just about what's in your account, it's about how free you feel when you wake up in the morning. But here's where it gets really interesting. The eighth sign is you've stopped making excuses and started taking ownership. When you're quietly getting rich, something fundamental shifts in how you talk about money. You stop blaming external circumstances and start taking full ownership of your financial reality. You don't say, I can't afford that. You say, that's not a priority for me right now. You don't blame your income, your upbringing, or the economy. You focus on what you can control. Let me give you a concrete example. Someone makes $65,000 a year in a high cost of living city. Instead of complaining about rent prices or taxes, they optimize what they can. They live with a roommate to cut housing costs. They bike to work to eliminate car expenses. They meal prep on Sundays. When friends ask why they don't upgrade their lifestyle, they don't make excuses. They're clear about their priorities. I'm building my investment portfolio first. The luxury apartment can wait. Meanwhile, someone else makes the same $65,000 and spends their time explaining why they can't save. Rent is too expensive here. My student loans are killing me. I deserve to enjoy my money. They're not wrong about the challenges, but they use them as reasons to avoid action instead of constraints to work around. 5 years later, the first person has $85,000 invested. The second person has 4,000 and a lot of stories about why it's not their fault. This ownership mindset is powerful because it puts you back in the driver's seat. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start working with what you have. You stop justifying bad financial decisions and start making intentional choices. When you own your money starts working for you. But here's the thing that really gets me. There's another sign that people often miss. You've stopped buying into the idea that money won't fix your problems. There's nothing worse than someone rich saying, money won't fix your problems. Here's the truth. There are two different types of problems we all face. The first type is your basic needs. These are things like water, housing, healthcare, and food. Now, if you are facing the first type of problems, then the answer to all of these is clear. You need to earn more money. Everything you are stressing about can be solved with more money. When you fix the basic needs, your focus shifts onto type 2, which is the abstract problems. These are things money definitely can't fix, such as love, happiness, and fulfillment. For some people, that's always been about spending time with their family, enjoying their hobbies, their interests, and running a business that they're truly passionate about. So you can definitely be broke, but happy. You can also be rich, but sad. However, wouldn't you prefer to be rich and happy? The reality is, some people have been brainwashed into believing that they don't actually want money. And while they trade years of their life working a job they hate for a tiny salary, someone else is building real wealth. If you are able to ignore this nonsense, then you're on the right track. You understand that money solves the basic problems so you can focus on the important things. And here's the part that will blow your mind. Another subtle sign is you prioritize buying assets when possible. When was the last time you thought about buying something and took the time to decide if the item was going to help bring money into your life or drain money away from your life? We're constantly living on a seesaw. On one side, you've got fancy cars, designer clothes, and unnecessary gadgets. On the other side, we've got rental properties, stocks, and investments. By taking advantage of when the economy is on its knees and buying up lots of long-term assets, you can easily set yourself up financially for the rest of your life. The first $100,000 is the hardest money you'll ever earn. The truth is that getting your money to work for you and not the other way around is the only way to achieve real long-term wealth. I'm sure you've heard this before. However, I know that sometimes it can feel less scary just letting your money sit in a savings account rather than investing it elsewhere. If this is how you feel, then money market funds might be a good option for you. They normally have better interest rates than savings accounts while not being as risky as investing in stocks. But the point is, you're thinking about making your money work. That's the sign. But wait, here's something that most people don't realize. Another sign is when you see an obstacle, you overcome it instead of making excuses. Successful people focus on the opportunities rather than the things holding them back. Let's say you have the most amazing business idea that has the potential to make you millions of dollars, but you never act on it because too many things are standing in your way. How much is that idea actually worth to you? Well, the answer is absolutely nothing if you're not going to work on it. Have you ever chatted with a friend and they say, you know what? I've got the best business idea in the world. They're extremely motivated, certain that this will make them richer than rich itself. You then meet up with them 6 months later down the line and you ask them, how's everything going? And they say, oh, I haven't started yet. And the reason is, oh, because the government, my job, the economy, they've got excuse after excuse. The list goes on and on. When most people see a problem, they say it's bad luck. They quit and they stop trying. When people who are getting rich run into problems, they might scratch their heads for a while, but they don't give up. They strike when they have the most passion and the most motivation. The longer you leave an idea stuck up here in your head, the longer you'll have time to convince yourself that it'll never work. So if you are the type to just get going and sort the problems as you go, then there's a high chance you'll become rich. And here's something that might blow your mind. Another sign is you know there is so much more to learn. How many people do you know that when they have a couple of days off or during the evening, spend all their spare time playing video games and watching Netflix? I'm willing to bet quite a few. Look, there is nothing wrong with binging a TV series once in a while. I'm talking about the people that don't watch or read anything educational. They falsely believe that education stops when you leave school. To be honest, these people are extremely arrogant and they don't know it. They think getting rich is down to luck, because they haven't learned enough to spot the strategic steps that every self-made millionaire takes. They would rather critique others and then escape to a fantasy land where they don't have to think about their problems. But here's the thing. Ignoring your problems just makes them bigger and bigger. The strange thing about learning is that the more we learn, the more we know how much we don't actually know. It's about learning things you never knew before and then turning those newly learned ideas into action in your own life. Think of life like a video game. It's never a bad time to arm yourself. So people that read those books and watch educational videos on YouTube are at such an advantage. People will say, you just got lucky. But the truth is, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So never stop equipping yourself with the knowledge and prepare yourself to be one of the luckiest people alive. But here's where it gets really interesting. Another sign is you have confidence to take calculated risks. Have you ever complimented someone on doing something really well, and they sort of look down and mumble something like, oh, it was nothing. I thought I should have done a bit better. Oh, I made a few mistakes. Maybe they don't like to blow their own trumpet because they don't want to look cocky, or I don't know, they lack self-confidence by downplaying their skills. They make others think they're worthless. This is even more important when you have a side hustle or a high-paid job, because the more confident you can be, the more confident your clients or your team will be in your abilities. There isn't much money going around at the moment, so the more confident everyone is in your abilities, the better you're going to do. Confidence also allows you to take calculated risks. As you know, you can come out the other side with even more. For example, let's say you won $500,000 on a lottery. Now a person with low confidence would probably spend it all on something they've always wanted, because that's what they've always wanted all their life, as they feel this will give them validation. They've dreamed of buying that thing and they feel that they'll never have enough money to be able to afford it ever again. They go out and buy it and get an instant rush and feeling of great, I've got what I've always wanted. A confident person would believe in their ability to make more money, and instead of spending it, would use it to their advantage. So the confident person decides to invest every penny so that their wealth grows. Maybe in stocks and shares, maybe in a side hustle, or maybe in real estate. Let's fast forward a year or two down the line. If you lacked confidence, then you'd have none of your winnings left. All you'd be left with is a depreciating dream losing money week after week. You'd probably be desperate to sell it now that the initial rush has worn off. Whereas if you're confident from the beginning, then you would have all your winnings left, plus more from the growth of your investments. Using your profits, you could then look to buy that thing you wanted pre-owned for at least 50% off. The person with the confidence ends up with everything he ever wanted and more, even though they both started off with the same amount of money. If you've seen any of these signs in your life, even just one or two, you're already on a path most people never find. You're not just surviving, you're not just getting by, you're quietly building something that can't be taken from you. Not by a recession, not by a job loss, not even by doubt. So keep going, because if it doesn't feel like you're getting rich yet, you probably are, just quietly, and that's exactly how it should be. The transformation that happens when you start building real wealth isn't just about the money itself. It's about becoming the type of person who has money saved. And that identity shift creates ripple effects that extend into every corner of your life in ways you probably never expected. Here's the thing that really gets me. Most people are looking for that one big moment, the lottery win, the inheritance, the business that explodes overnight. But real wealth, sustainable wealth, it builds quietly. It's the decision to save instead of spend. It's the choice to invest for the long term instead of chasing quick wins. It's the courage to say no when everyone else is saying yes. It's the willingness to live below your means so you can build above your circumstances. These aren't flashy decisions. They don't get likes on social media. They don't make for exciting stories at parties, but they're the decisions that actually build wealth. And here's what's actually happening. While everyone else is focused on appearing wealthy, you're busy becoming wealthy. While they're upgrading their lifestyle to match their income, you're keeping your lifestyle the same and upgrading your financial foundation. While they're complaining about obstacles and making excuses, you're finding solutions and taking ownership. While they're obsessing over money problems, you're building systems that make money problems disappear. While they're chasing quick wins, you're playing the long game. While they're comparing themselves to others and feeling inadequate, you're building according to your own plan and timeline. While they're stuck in financial survival mode, you're enjoying the quiet confidence of knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. The crazy part is most people have no idea this transformation is even happening. They're too busy looking at surface level indicators of wealth. The car someone drives, the clothes someone wears, the vacations someone posts on Instagram. But real wealth runs deeper. It's in the decisions you make when no one is watching. It's in the habits you've built over years of consistency. It's in the mindset shift from scarcity to abundance. It's in the confidence that comes from knowing you can handle unexpected expenses without panic. It's in the freedom of having options that most people don't even know exist. So here's what I want you to remember. If you're reading this and nodding along because you see these signs in your own life, you're doing something right. You might not feel rich yet. Your bank balance might not impress anyone at a cocktail party. You might still have work to do, but you're on the right path, the path less traveled, the path that leads somewhere real, the path that leads to actual wealth, not the appearance of wealth. Keep going, because the people who are quietly getting rich, they're the ones who end up truly rich, not just in money, but in options, freedom, peace of mind, and the ability to live life on their own terms. And that, my friends, is worth more than any flashy car or designer outfit could ever be.